In this video, we're going to explore how we can create a shopping list. And in this case, what we want to do is that we put in here our value. And once we click here on add, we get here a table. And this is basically a journey into JavaScript itself. So this is not a video tutorial on how to do it. I'm trying to explore it myself as well. So let's start and explore exactly how we do this. Basically, what we're going to use here is a very familiar JavaScript command, which is the append child. So we're going to use that, and let's explore how to do this. Alright, so the first thing what we're going to do is we're going to create a table here. And what we're going to do here is we make this table. And you can see here, this is my Bootstrap template here. And then we say here class. We're using just Bootstrap 5.0. So you can use it as well. You can also use Bootstrap 4.x or 4.5, whatever is available right now. Doesn't matter at all. Alright, so we have this here now. We have this table here with a class, and I'll just give this a table of class. Then we say here table row, and this table row will have a table data. Alright, so basically here we have to put it in. We're not going to put in this table data yet, and maybe we have to remove the table row as well, because this will be where we start. But we need to append multiple items in here. So what we're going to do here is, just for sake of clarity, we're going to put in here a table data. This table data will say name, or we can well, we can probably see if we want to use that, yes or no, but we can just check on it, name. And what we say here is delete button. Alright, so we have this. So basically in here, in this table row, where we have two different table columns. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that this is starting to work exactly as we want. And that we can put in information and click on add item. And the moment we click add item, it should show up. So what we're going to do here is first, we're going to give this table an ID. We call this a product list, where you have all the products in. And this will be the ID product row. Basically in here we will start to append, and the reason why this is the parent of table row. However, well, that is exactly what we want. I realize we don't need even this one, because we will append it in here in the table, then we put it in the row tag here, and from there on we can add up these items. So the table is the parent. So that is what we probably have to do. So let's start and explore then what we need to do here. Alright, the first thing what we're going to do is we're going to get this table ID here, the product list. So we say constant product list, and this product list we say document dot get element by ID. Alright, and this, what is the ID name? Well, the ID name is the table. So we have this, and what we want to do now is the moment we click on this item here, this button here, we want to say add item or add product. We can probably give here add product and add product here. Alright, so we want to add up this product, put it here down. Alright. So what we need to do is two things. We need to create another constant with an onClick effect for the add product here. So we say here constant add product is this, alright, and then we say add product dot, because what we're going to do now is we're going to create the click event. So the moment it clicks, we need to create an add event listener. So we say here add event listener, and then in here we will say the following. So the moment we click, at that moment we should trigger a function. So what will be the function? Let's say add new product. Alright, so once we did that, we can start to create our function, and our function is named add new product. And once we did that, we can now work within this function here. So what we're going to do now is basically this. So we click this, so what is going to happen? Well, we need to create an append child, right? So what we need to do is we need to create an element. And what we're going to do now is we give it a new constant, and this constant is basically the new element that we create, which is a table row. Alright, so this is the table row. We say constant. We say here new row. Maybe that's a good one, I'm not sure. Yeah, new row, that's fine. Fine for now. And then we say here new row is document dot create element. Alright. So this is a command here that will create an element. So what's the tag or the element we want to create? Well, in this case, we want to create the tr. Alright, so in here, we're not yet done, because what we need to do as well is we need to create a new tr1, table data 1, and this will be td, table data, that's td1, and of course we need another one which is called table data number 2. Why number 2? Well, if we will have a table, as you can see here, let's save this, you will see here, we have 2 details here. So that's why we have 2 table data which we need to append to the child, or these are the children of table row, and table row is the child of our table, which is table product list or ID product list. Alright, so I hope that makes some sense. So now what we can do is the following. We say here our product list dot append child. And what are we appending? Which one? Well, basically the product list, which is the table, we will have to append this one here, the table row. Alright, and once we did that, you know that these two are children of the parent of table row. Makes sense, because in the tag table row you put in your table data. So in this case, what we can do here is we do another one. We say here new row dot append. So which child do we want to latch onto the table row? Well, that is this here. So let's do that correctly. We say this here, and then what I say here is copy this, paste. Alright, so once we save this, now once it's saved, we can refresh this, and let's see what happens now. Alright, so you see some movements, and let's open up this and see what's going on here. As you can see here right now, we are appending them, and you can see that our table row always connects and has 2 children in there, which are the table data. Alright, so that means we're getting very, very close into what we want. So what we want next is, of course, we want this text here. So we have this input here, input value, and what we want to do is we put in here our product name, and then once we click on add, it should put in here the product name, which makes sense. Alright, so that's what we're going to do. So how do we do this? Well, first of all, let's see what's the product name here. We have here add product, so I will say here product name instead of item name, so product name. So we're going to copy this, and then we say here as well const product name equals document dot get element by ID. You probably figured out now why we're doing this, because we're connecting this with JavaScript. So HTML and JavaScript communicate, and then we can extract this data here. Alright, so what are we going to do now? This will be used in here, but then what we need to do is we need to insert this in the right location. Where do we insert it? If we put in here, for example, a product name, let's say chicken, and we click on add product, it shows here. So the text, yes, and let me repeat here, the text here of this one is basically the child of TD. Yes, do you understand it? So the table data has a child. What's the child of table data? It is the information in that cell or in the table data tag. That is considered the child. So that's what we're going to do now here. We're going to append the child to this, but to append this, we need to make sure it understands that this is not a create element, but it's a different one. We have to check what that is exactly. If I'm not mistaken, the node text, DOM remove child, no. Append child, that's what we're going to look for here. Append child, alright. And what we're going to really look here for is the create text node. So that's really what we're needing. We're not going to create an element, but we're going to create the text node, and this text node contains text, which will be, of course, the value of our input. So let's do that one right now. So let's see how we're going to do that. So we have this here, the product name, which is the input. And then what we have to do here is product name. And then let's double check here, make sure we have this. We have a text node here. I can just copy it. I'll just copy this info. Alright. And put it in here. So we have here a text node. So this is the product name. And the product name is basically this constant here. You have to create a text node of this. So how will we do, or what is the text node? This is our text node here. So what we can say here, product name node. I'll just give it a node. The reason why it's called node is basically it's you have the parent and the child is a node of the parent. That's basically it. That's it. Very simple, straightforward. So we say here product name 2. Yes. And this product name 2 will be basically the product name dot value. Why dot value? Well, simply this. We need the dot value because the dot value is the value of the input. So the product name input. So this constant is product name 2. And later on probably can fine tune this because I don't like this so much. So we can see here later on how we can make this a bit more logical. Because right now it's a mess, to be honest. Alright. This will be eventually append to the child of which one? Well, basically to this one. This table data, number 1, is the father or the mother, the parent, is probably the better word because it could be both, male or female, is the parent of the text here. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to do that right now. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say product name dot append child. And then what do we get here is, of course, oh, sorry, this is product. This is not correct here. We have to remove this. We're going to put it in here because this is the text node that we need to put in. Because this is the father or the mother, this is the parent, this is the child. All right. So we say here new table data 1 will have the appended child of text, which is whatever we type in product name. Or basically the input. Alright. We can maybe remove this constant and just put it like this. That should be fine as well. Let's see if that works. Let's save that. Go back here. So I'm going here now and refresh. And now I say 1, 2, 3. Add. Alright. And then do more. Add. And then more. Add. And more. Add. Although you see here something happening. I have to double check what's going on here. Oh, of course. It will match up here with the width, so we can do here some fine tuning if we want. So what I mean by fine tuning here, maybe we make the button smaller, and it almost looks like a small to-do list. So what we can do now as well is we can do probably a to-do list here, or a item as well. Let's see, okay, or not really an item, but the button. We can put in the button as well. So we have now this. The only thing what I don't like here is like this. This should be removed or should be blank. So the moment I click on add, it should be blank. And this we can do maybe a column, we spread the column here a bit. So how we do this? We go back here and then we will say here call a class, and then we say here call 6, or what is that, width 50, just like 50% width. See if this one works here. If we save this, there we are. Alright, so that looks fine. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to remove this because we don't need this. And what we're going to do now is we're going to append it on this one. So what are we going to append? Here, if you want to have a button, we have a button like we have here. How can we append this? Well, basically, almost similar to what we did here, and we can remove this one here. What we're going to do here is now to create a constant for a button, and our const, this is delete button or warning button or whatever. So this delete button is basically a piece of HTML code that we're going to add up here. So we say here button, and then here we have button close, and then we say here class, and this class is btn LG, that's fine, and then btn warning or danger for red color, and then we say here X for delete. All right, so that's fine. So we have this now semicolon. This delete button can be used now and inserted in here as well. So what we can do here is basically this. We'll say here in the append, basically we copy this almost similar. Oh, here's the create text node. Then in our case we have to double check here if this will work. If we need to also create a text node, we say here, but then in our case we get the delete button and put the delete button in here. And once we did that, we put in number 2, and let's save and see what happens. So if I say here 1, 2, 3, add, oh, okay, you can see it becomes a string here. So we need to convert this into a HTML. So we have to see how we can convert a code into HTML. So that will be one, and next we still have to fix this. Let's fix this one quickly because this is the easy one to do, and this one I have to figure out myself as well. So let's start and do basics here. So the moment we click here, what we want to do is we want to put in the product name, or we want this product name to equal nothing, empty. Yes, so we say here product name dot value equal nothing. All right, so that makes sense. If we do this, 1, 2, 3, bam, there we are. All right, now let's look here. What we need to do here, we have basically a code. So there can be a few items that we can add up here. So let's see here first. Maybe the text node is becoming an issue, and the reason why it is considered HTML, and right now it sees it as a string. So we need to solve this. Maybe we cannot do it like that. What we can do is we create a new element as a button. And this button element, so what we say here, delete button, is basically this. Alright, so once we do that, and we will append this one, delete button, but we will have to append this. And how we do this? Well, we have to append the child of the button. And that is the create element. Alright, so what we do here is append child similar to this here, remove this, get rid of this. Alright, and then we have the delete button. This constant here we are not allowed to use this double, so I'm going to comment this out comment this out. So save this now, and now what we should have is at least a button. Alright, you can see here this works. This is a button. So what we can do now is probably append. Now is the question, how do we append a piece of text or basically code? So if we know that there is a parent, that the button is now basically a parent, and the items in here is the text or the child, we have to figure out how can we insert class in here. Well, what we can do probably is you create element here, insert text node, create a text node, probably not on value, but now what we have to check is how can we insert in our delete button the class name. So probably we can do here create class name or add class name. That would be the most logical one, but we also need a text. So what we're going to do here is create a text node. We're going to copy all of this, And this will be, of course, this is the parent, so we say delete button, append child, and then we say document text note, and here I will not put anything, I will just put a string here, put an X. Alright, that will be number 1. So if I save this and let's see here, refresh, we add, alright, we get an error. What happened here? Syntax missing for the argument list, alright, in this one. So let's double check here what's going on here. Maybe this is not allowed. And then we have to figure out, oh, alright, sorry. You see here double parentheses are missing. Alright, so let's save this. Refresh. Let's try now. Alright, we got the button, or at least the X. So now what we need to do is to put in the class name. So that's what we're going to figure out now. We have here maybe document, then create a text note. Then we say here document class name. So let's do that as well. And I'm not even sure if this is correct because I'm just trying to figure it out as I go. As I told you already, this is really my JavaScript learning. This is just documentation. I've always wondered how people really learn this stuff, and I figured out if I document it and start to make videos about this, probably it's interesting to see, I hope for you, but also for myself to see how I progress. So we can say here now, class name, and then what we add up here is the class names. And this is the most logical one, what I would say, and then we just put in here all the class names that we have. Put it all in here. Let's save this, refresh, alright, and let's put it in. Alright, now we get an error. And the reason why class name is not a function, alright. So class name is not correct. Create a text note. Well, probably I have to search. So I'm going to search for this now. Alright, so what we're going to do then is, and I just did some research. Let's look here how we can do this. Apparently I was very close, except that we made a small adjustment, or we didn't have to append it. And the reason why we don't have to append it, what we can do is the following here. We just get this delete button, and we can, I'll just comment out this, we don't need that, and we say here in the delete button, dot class name equals this here. So we were really close at the answer. Let's save that and then refresh, and let's say hit test. And as you can see now here, we only get still one item here. I just cannot explain why this works here. This could be a bug. No idea exactly. So it should work here, or it should do something, but somehow it looks like it is differently responding. As you can see here, we can see here the codes. If we say a dark, what happened? But if we will give this item here a button, then we say here class equals btn. Then we say here btn dark, what happens? Oh, this just doesn't work at all. Alright, so that doesn't work. However, this one here, you have button btn success. This works accordingly. So I cannot explain why this is not working. It should work. However, if I refresh this and say test, there you are. And test again. Test again. So this is working, except that the design is not what I expect it to be. So let's see if I can give it a background color. So what we're going to do here is background color danger. Let's see if this works. Let me press. Alright. Although I do not know why, but this is basically how it works. That's fine. So if we say here W with 100, there we are. So now we have something that starts to look more nicer, and we can maybe adjust this. We say 25% here in the width, and this is 75%. Refresh. We press here. There you are. Alright. So what we can do now is try to figure out, can we put in here a on click, and this on click will eventually create a action. So let's see how we can do this. Well, basically what I assume is this on click is basically in here. When we create this, then we have here, this is the button. So let's double check if we can use this as well. So we say here, the button, I'm not sure, so we say the button or delete button dot add event listener. Then we say here click, then we say here delete item. So let's see if this really works. And this is alright, so this is here. What we can say here is console.log. Let me say here yes. So this is basically my checker. So the moment we click on this button, let's see if we can pinpoint this item here and then say delete. Alright, it gives an error here by default. This means that this is not an expected token. Where are we exactly? Alright, on click. Oh, of course, sorry, I'm making a mistake here. Don't do this. Of course, this doesn't make any sense. The reason why is we need to do here you add event listener, then we have to do here function delete item, and there we put in or we insert the console log here. Refresh. Alright, this gives an error already, but that means that there is a uncut reference, so something not defined. And I was afraid about this, so this was most likely the issue. So what we can do here, how can we implement this? Because basically this should be within here. If we do it within here, it will not respond outside. So let's see. Let's try something. Let's save this and see what happens. Alright, there's no console error. Then we say this, and then we do this. Alright, it says yes. I'm surprised it even responds, which is fine. Then we have to delete this specific item. And then the question now is, how do we delete this specific item? That's what I'm going to search for now. Alright, so for this we have to insert the function or create the onClick, and if we look here in W3 schools we have some hints here. So let's copy this one. I'll just copy this, and we're trying to explore if this will really work for our solution. So let's paste this in here and let's save this for now and then go back here. If we refresh here, let's see what happens, and this says yes. Alright. So what's the real issue that we have to figure out? We have the function work, or we can create a function. However, what we need to do is we need to make sure that the function or the button we click is the one that should be deleted and not any other button. So basically here, if you have two buttons, which one will be clicked and what will it do? As you can see here, we have both say yes. I cannot distinguish this. So what we can do is with a for function. So if I'm looking here at what they did here, they use a for loop. In here they search for close. In this case, close is most likely the one that we need, or let's double check here. The close is probably an ID or a class. Let's double check here. We have close. This append child. Alright, here we have close. We have something with close here. Document get element by class name close. Alright. So that's probably what we need to do here eventually as well. So what we're going to do is the following. We need to give here, basically what we want to do is we want to count how many items we have. Well, let's see, that's what we need to do first then. Once we add up the class, and this will be the class, where is the class here? Alright, let's give it close as well. So what happened is, once we click on this button, it gives a class of close, and we want to make sure that we can count how many times close we have. So let's see, how do we do this? let me double check here the code. We're going to check here the code, and what it does is the following. Document, get element by class name. Alright, so basically, if I would see this, then here we could make here a item. And this will be a document. We can do that. Well, let's see, where are we going to put that? We will put it below here. And then we say dot, sorry, this is the close. So we say here constant. This is the close, and then we say document dot get elements by class name. And what is the class name we're going to count or search for? Well, it's close. So now we have this. So if we have this, are we able to count this? So what happens if I say here close, and let's comment out this for now. Refresh, and then I say here, alright, this is a button, and what it does here, it shows twice. So if I click this, alright, so if you really pay attention here, you can see here, it shows here an array number. And this might be extremely useful. Or is this the array number? Well, let me refresh again. If I say this, what happened here? We have only one button. And if I add one more time and then we click here, we have an HTML collection of 2. And then you see here button 1, button 2. Alright? So that would mean if I do this, 0 will show me the answer. Let's double check. It shows this. It shows only 1. Alright. So alright, it does something. So how can we validate this better? Let me double check here. Maybe we can find close and length. Dot length. Let's see if this works. We'll check the array value in this case. We see 1, alright, and then we say 2, alright. So this is what we need. As you can see here now, we're getting close to it, and this is quite nice. So we have to indicate here. So we need here, now I understand here as well, you will probably understand here as well. Why do we have a for loop? Well, the for loop is basically to count what it is. So if I would say here, let's see here, on click, function delete. So how will we delete this? Well, basically we'll say the following then. Let's double check if this works. We'll say the following. We'll say that close length, okay, close length, well, not length, but we say close 0. Then we say, let's say here close 0, sorry, dot style. So we say this dot display. Well, we just can copy this one here down. Display equals none. None. All right. So this would mean if we would have here, the first element of our array will be removed. So if we click here, if I press here, oh, all right, we cannot see this. I do see here response. So let's say here 1. All right, let's refresh this. Add 2 and 3. All right, so if I click here on number 2, this one should be deleted. All right. Something happens, but of course you can see here what happens is it deletes the button itself instead of our desired item here, or our table row. So we have to figure out here, basically what we have to do is we have to get the parent, or the parent of the parent. And now this explains as well why we have here this parent element. Alright, so let's explore now how we can do this. And if we click here, nothing else happens. So what we're going to do here now is the following. We say close on button, but we don't want to close. If this, then we say on click on close one, on click. Alright, so you can see here it is based on a function. So this is a quite interesting part, so we can say maybe this. We're going to say this. We're going to probably not use this one, and we just copy here this part here. We say here dot on click equals function, and this function is nameless. So we have to just check what's going on here. So we say the following then. Display not close, but display. Let's see what we can find here. Not the close, but we need to remove the table array. So this one here, new row. If I do this, I'm still not certain if this will respond correctly as I expect. Well, let's try. Refresh. Here we are. Yeah. Alright, and then if I click on this, property style undefined, not defined or undefined. So what's going on here? Console. The new row dot style display. Alright. So new row is here. Create. What is the close? What happened with the close? Alright. What we need to do is there's no item here as in the class name, what we did here, right? So what we have to do here is we have to add up a class name. I'm going to remove this one. This one is not anymore necessary. What we have to do here is to add up a class name. And this class name creates the array number. As it will see, alright, we have multiple classes. So let's look here. What should be then the class name? We have to go here on new row. Append child on new row. Oh, this was even mistaken. New row should not be here. It should be the product list if I'm not mistaken. Am I correct? Oh, no, sorry. New row is correct. So the new row is correct, but what we have to do in the new row, we need to assign it a class. So what we're going to do here is new row. We're going to give it a class. So we say new row, and then we say dot class name equals remove tr, table row. Alright, so once we have this class name here, this should be let's see here, we have the close. Alright, so then what we can do is then we can loop through, we can create this. Then we say here another const, and this will say remove table row. Oh, I'll just remove that. Alright, remove table row dot equals document dot get elements by class name. And what is the class name we're going to search for? It's a table row. Remove tr. Alright, so I hope you're following along here. So basically we're just doing the same as what we did for the button with the close, but then what we want to do is we want to pinpoint it. Yes. So if we close 0, 1 on click, or so if we click on close button 0, 1, 0, this is the first one in the array, we want to remove or display none the new row, or not really the new row, but class name this, alright, this one here. So remove tr. That's the one we want to trigger and say remove it or display none. Let's save this. Let's see if this works. Alright, so then 1, then we put in 2 and 3. Then if I click on this, it does not work. Alright, so let's double check here. Did I refresh properly or did I save it properly? Let me double check. Doesn't respond. Alright, so what is going on here? Remove tr on click function, remove tr display none. Why it doesn't work? What I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in here a console.log And then let's see if this is being displayed correctly, or if we get anything based on a click. So it shows it. So why is it not responding? So if we show this on click, we have this. So we say here move tr dot style dot display equals none. So what am I missing here? And it was working on the close button here. So let's do this one then. I will just do it here on 1. So that means if I click here, the button will be gone on the second array or second element, which is number 1, but the first element would be displaying none. 1, then here number 2. Alright, this doesn't work. Oh. Alright, okay, maybe that was the reason. So if I remove this here, click on it, alright, it works. It is working. And the reason why it just didn't work was I had to click on the first one in the array. As you can see, I'm learning just straight on right as I'm doing this and explaining it to you. And this is really I guess this is the real word for coding journey, the journey of learning how to code. Alright, so we've got this now, and now this explains as well, let's remove this. This explains immediately why there's a for loop here. The for loop will start to count. And based on this, it will start to trigger. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to copy this basically, or not really, we're going to make it. We say for, and a for loop always consists of 3 data points. And we say I equals 0. And then this is the first one, which is the starting point of the variable. And then you have the I is the condition. You keep on going depending on the close, and the reason why here close dot length, remember the length here will be, it will check how many items we have. We did this array, this is for an array as well. And once it did, and then it starts to loop through the I++, so this is the reiterating part. From here on it starts to reiterate the number of times depending on this condition here. And reiterate means repeating number of times. How many times? Well, this is the formula here, or this is the condition. So once it happens here, then we can change it all to I. So if we do this one and then we remove this, alright, so then we can do this one, is no need anymore, because we only want to trigger the row. Once we trigger the row, that's fine. Alright, save this. And now, refresh. Put in 1, put in 2, 3, alright, and then let's delete this. Oh, alright, what happened? Can I read property? Property style undefined. What's going on here? Style equals none. It's not able to read this. So what is going on here that it struggles to read? So are we struggling apart on the item? We say here remove display equal none. So this one is not working. Why? I don't know yet. So let's do a console log. Console.log, and let's check here. We say on close. What I will do is I will get this. So we should be looping through multiple remove rows. How many rows? Depending on how many times we have the row. Let's save this. Refresh. Say 1, 2, and 3. Alright. So if I click on this, it's undefined. Alright, so we get an issue here. Undefined. So this means this is undefined. So what is the close? Or are we missing something? Did we delete something unknowingly? The product list, remove table row. Alright, table row is get class name. Alright, so this is fine. So there is something here going wrong, and this is the issue. If I do close, let's see if we have the same issue. Save this. Then say 1, 2, 3. Undefined, undefined, undefined. Alright. As you can see here, we're getting an issue. And maybe this is trying to explain here why we have this here. Div style, this parent element. Let's double check what we're going to do now. How are we able to solve this. So it says the following here. For this, alright. Once we did this, what are we missing? Oh, alright. I can see here we're forgetting probably this here. This explains it a lot. Alright. So what we have, because we have here these things, and this is starting to confuse me till the end. So we have this and we have that, but what about this one here? You can see this should not be like that. Alright. So what I'm going to do here is another parentheses. Alright, this was, oh, and then, yes, alright. So we have this, alright, so now it's closing, and this is probably the issue. If I save this now, should we have it, yes or no? Add 1, 2, and 3. Alright, remove 1. Undefined, can I read property? Remove tr style none. What are we missing? Is this creating an error? Display, let's see. Would it be double quotation? I don't believe this would be the solution, but let's double check. 1, 2, 3. Okay, doesn't matter. Alright, it gives an error again. There we are. Can I read this? Property style is undefined. Alright, style. Alright, so I'm not able to explain why. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to change it. Instead of style, I'm going to give it a class name. See if that would be a solution for it. So we say here, class name equals, and because this is bootstrap, I can put in here the none. Alright, I'm just putting single quotation. Let's see if this is the solution to our problem. Alright, cannot set property class name. Alright, we're having an issue here with the property. So now is the question, what is exactly the issue? So we have this here and that one. So we can say here, close I on click, console log, and remove. So this is that, console.log, close log, remove table, or why is there a thing? Are we missing something? Am I missing maybe anything here that would confuse it? So let's remove this one. Let's remove that, alright. Cannot set property class name of undefined. So the question is now undefined. Alright. The close. Which one is the close? Did we define the close? Console log. That one doesn't work. Console log. And the same would be in the remove table row. Am I correct? Save this. Refresh. Class name of undefined close. On click. So this one is undefined. Did we add up here still the close, or did I do something with it? No. Is there still a close button here? Let's double check. Close. Undefined close. So right now I'm absolutely struggling because I am not sure where the issue is. So let's explore here. Let's debug. I thought we were really close to getting it here, but the issue is by default always in the same location. Cannot set a property class name. Right now it says this, the none. What happens if you remove this? Does it work by default? Undefined, undefined. Alright, it says undefined. So it means it really cannot reach this here. So what are we struggling with, or why do we have this? Let's put this back on 0 and 0. And we will also put this here on 0. So we're going to hard code this right now. So if I press here, you can see here, the moment we press this one, the first one works because the first one is considered a 0. But once you click the second one will not work because the second one is not considered 0. So in here, for some reason, something is not working. So I will check on this. Alright, so far I've tried to figure it out, but I'll be honest with you, I'm still stuck here. So I'm going to show you what we have so far, and let's refresh this. So right now, if you do this, we create here a property of undefined. Alright, that's no problem. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you a few things that does work. Why it doesn't work, I cannot explain so far. Right now, it has an issue to read the loop of these numbers here. It just cannot read them. However, if I put this on 0, we're able to remove always the first element. So I will show you. Let's refresh here. Then 1, 2, 3. And if we do this, no, this is undefined. Let's say here property on click divine. Cannot set type error. Well, let's see what are we missing here. Alright, what is this for type error? Why do I have this type error? I'm not familiar with this type error right now. Just was working fine. So what I say here, let's remove items. Cannot set property on click. Alright, so let me try one more time. Alright, we got immediately an issue here. On click undefined HTML. Alright, so I have no idea why it suddenly didn't work. Yes, it worked very well. Let's put it on 0 back. So to save this, we just put it on 0 for now. And this on click, that's fine. Let's refresh. So now everything works. And as you can see here, if I click on this, it always removes the first value, sadly enough. However, it does not want to add up the next value. So let's say here close length. I wonder why this is not showing. It shows here 1 and then it says here 0. Alright, so it shows here now 4. Again. We have this 5 items. It shows 5. 5 again. Somehow here, well, it shows 5 because of the loop. Alright, so that's the total loop. But that's fine. So this close length works. But the close array is not showing at all. So remove this one as 0 and close length. Let's see here what happened if we do remove length. And then here refresh. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so this works all fine. It counted well. It's 1. Alright, so this works somehow, the length. It can read the length. It just cannot figure out the numbering or the for loop. Are we missing something in the for loop that I'm not aware of? So let's double check here. Maybe we're just missing something. We have double curly braces. We have this is correct. We have this is close length. Alright. Everything in here is working the for loop. So for now, I will wrap it up. Sorry about that, because I don't know what it is, and I'll try to figure it out in the meanwhile, maybe. And if you do know the answer, put them in the comments section below. That would be really nice to figure out, because this is quite challenging debugging. As you can see here, as I told you before, This is truly a journey in learning how to code, and now I'm really learning here where is the issue.